Hi, it's Sarah here from Thriving Solo, and today I'm sharing a little bit more of my own story and what I did when no one was booking with me. If you've only recently graduated and are just starting out, you may feel invisible. You're not alone. I felt the exact same way when I started out. So it's particularly important for solo practitioners because you've got health practice that you're trying to build up. You may have got bills due. You've very likely have got bills due. They don't stop just because you've not got any customers. And you may have got a quiet phone. We'd actually moved 2 hours from our original location in Sheffield over to Scarborough into a brand new area when I set up. I didn't know anybody and I was setting up a new business at home. So believe me, I understand for anybody that's new where you're coming from and how difficult it can be. Empty schedules drain both our cash and our confidence. New patients don't come just from clever words alone, from Facebook posts, etc. They come from trust. And the good news is that you can build that trust with some low cost moves. So I'm going to share the first three things that I did to sort of get my business moving. And the first one was that I actually hosted a simple party for the neighbours. I did a wine and nibbles, but you could do coffee and cake if that fits better. I invited all the local neighbours, particularly those who might be impacted by parking for my practice or might have worried about the noise. Not that we really have a lot of noise in a physical therapy practice. I explained to them that the clinic hours would be part-time and that it would only be one early evening per week, so it wasn't going to impact them in an evening at all. We had parking on the driveway for my clients when they started to come, but I understood that some of those clients might still choose to park on the street rather than coming onto the driveway. And I explained to my neighbours that I would make sure that they knew that they should be respectful and not block other people's driveways. But if they did have any problems, if the neighbours did have any problems at all, please let me know about it so that I could discuss it with the clients and make sure that it didn't happen again. I gave all the neighbours a brief description of who I was expecting to help, the fact that I'm working with people that have got pain conditions, that I was mainly expecting to work with more elderly clients, and I gave everybody a free voucher for an acupuncture or acupressure treatment. It needed to be booked and it was only valid for 6 months. So I'd got a proper end date to that. I wasn't going to be worried about them coming, 2 years on asking for a free treatment. One of those neighbours asked if they could pass it on to their neighbour because they felt that that person had got more need of a treatment. And that person used the free treatment, but then became a regular customer, which was great for me. Another of the neighbours was a keen golfer, and after their free treatment, they actually recommended me to their golfing buddies, the ones that had got perhaps a bit of injury and could benefit from treatment. And I would say that I think that this approach can work whether you're in a residential area like I am, or if you're in a commercial area. If you're in a commercial area, who are you neighbours with? What other businesses are you neighbours with? Could they benefit from knowing a bit about what you offer? There could possibly be a possibility of you partnering with them. And you can still do this if you've been open for a while. You could make it an anniversary of opening, or you could make it in advance of a World Health Day. For example, stress management. There's so many health days, World Health Days going on every month. You would be able to pick one that is appropriate for your particular therapy. And if you do it a little bit in advance with your neighbours, then you can explain that you're going to be running this for the public, your clients, in the future, on whatever date that's going to be. But you just wanted to have a chat with them about it in case you can partner on that as well. Maybe they'd like to have some sort of event for that day as well. You could all get together and do the same sort of thing. So that was my first one, giving a small party for neighbours to get the neighbours on side, to allay any fears that they'd got, and get them actually promoting my business for me. So the second one was community group talks with a Q&A and demo. So as I said, I was new to the area. There was a community hall just around the corner from me that advertised a women's group meeting, and I went along and I joined anyway, just as a good way to meet the new people in the area. Each meeting had a guest speaker, so I asked how I could be added. It's definitely worth checking how long you've got to be able to speak. You need to know that up front. And the first slot that I could take was actually 6 months out. So be aware that many of these groups do book up well in advance. However, I got a call after just 2 months because the booked speaker had let them down. They said, I know it's awfully short notice, but would you be able to step in tonight? We'll still keep your original slot so you can give the talk that you intended to, but if you could come and help us out, that would be great. So I said yes, of course. And if I'd thought about it, I'd have let them know that I was available to be on standby if there were any cancellations and how much notice I'd need. So that's worth knowing up front. So because I was at short notice, I did just check with them and they were happy enough with me taking my husband along. So I took my husband along both for moral support and also to be able to demonstrate on. So I was able to put some acupuncture needles in him, and everybody found that really fascinating. Because it was a women's group, they were quite sort of taken with having a bloke there as well. It was a bit more unusual for them. And my hubby is very chatty, and he's a great advert for my acupuncture. It's worked wonderfully on him. He can give many anecdotes of when it's helped him, and he's good at selling my business for me. So if you've got a cheerleader like that in your own family or friends, see if you can take them along. It just makes it much more comfortable for you. If you dry up, you've got somebody there to ask a question that they know you can answer. So yeah, it's win-win all ways round. And by the way, many groups will offer a speaker's fee. So, it's a little bit of extra income as well, potentially. So you can reach out to libraries, parents groups, sports clubs, faith groups. It's best to just sort of pitch one clear topic, something appropriate to the group that you're seeing. And think about how long you've got to be able to talk, and make sure that you're figuring in a good amount of Q&A time in there as well. Just some simple props, a chair, a needle. I passed around one of my acupuncture needles, sort of put into a pin cushion so they could see how fine it was. That is one question that I get very often about the size of the needles. So it's good for people to be able to see that. But I made sure that it was a small group and that I kept my eye on it as it went around. I don't want people actually hurting themselves, getting a pinprick with the needle. It's good to have a handout with a couple of self-care tips, your booking link, and possibly even a discount code if you're happy to offer that. encourage questions and just answer them in plain words. If you're new and starting out, you might not know what common questions are, so Google it. Just ask, what do people want to know about your particular therapy? And Google, as all things these days, is using AI, and it'll probably be able to tell you some of the most common questions. So just make a note of the common questions and have those ready just in case people are starting, a bit shy starting out and don't know what to ask. You could say, these are some of the common questions. Here's my answer. So the third thing that I did was an open day at my clinic. I think I might have mentioned this on a couple of other videos. Our local radio station had a What's On calendar that you could submit any events for publicising free of charge. So I created an open day, actually a half a day, just a morning, each month, and added it to their calendar. I provided some advertising blurb, which was really easy because they set the format, so it was just a question of typing in to their format for it. And I'd pick a day or a time that I thought people would be more available. I was going for a Saturday morning, or you could go for a weekday evening, something when you've not got everybody out at work. Many of the people who attend these open days or your little chats will pass the information to a friend or family member that have got health problems. So it's worth making that easy by preparing an extra card or an extra handout for people to know that they can take away and give to a friend. Let them know, please pass this on to anybody, it might help. And it's worth tracking to make sure that you know how many of these events you're getting booked into your calendar, so that you don't overbook yourself and drain your energy. Drop what drains you. If giving a talk is just too scary for you, go for the open day. Go for, as I say, a small party for neighbours, etc. And double up on what feels light. So, if you don't want to do the presentations, but you're happy with the open days, do twice as many open days. And like I say, make sure that there's some white space on your calendar, that you're not booking yourself out too much. Just have a little think about what you could do. Pick one of the tactics, put it in your diary right now, and push on through. It will get easier as time goes on. You're going to have a ripple effect from referrals. And as I say, people that come along might not be the ones that you actually end up treating. You may end up treating their friends or family. A lot of people have got health conditions that need a bit of support and help these days. And people are looking out for who can help us. So definitely worth doing. Now, just take a little bit of time, as always, for your own self-care today, and I'll be back again soon.